What up, what up? Good morning. So this morning I got a couple things. I want to say good morning to everybody. We're going to start this one early. Let me delete this comment. Had to turn on my Wi-Fi. Good morning, good morning. Let me write in the feed. This conversation is about my live about Charlie Kirk and all the ignorant ass texts and inboxes I got. And the truth about hate and love. Because yesterday, let me put this on the screen. For one, yesterday, I was actually really just grazing the surface and being like light about the conversation, right? Because I felt like I sat back long enough and I seen with everything with Charlie Kirk, the good, bad, and difference. And I watched the reaction of people. And so when I sat back for a couple of days, I watched how wrong a side of white America was. I watched how wrong a part of black America was. And then I sat back and I did that live yesterday, right? And then I got all these people hitting me on my page and in my inbox. And so yesterday I did it light. Today I'm holding niggas accountable because we're not going to sit here and play. This is the issue with us. We some of the fakest woke people on the planet Earth ever, right? One, a lot of people hit my page yesterday, want to call me all types of fake woke Uncle Tom, but I'm fake woke. But at the end of the day, I don't see a lot of people pushing and doing what the fuck they supposed to do. So we gonna sit around on this bitch on TV. We gonna sit around on TV, on Facebook and Instagram, act like our people got our shit together. That was my point, right? What happened to what Malcolm and them said about clean up your own backyard before you start running your fucking mouth, right? Now, one, he was assassinated by some shit that ain't got nothing to do with us, right? And are we intelligent to understand propaganda? Because remember, 98% of all my people don't understand politics or social economics. That's facts, right? But niggas got opinions on shit that they ain't even reading or researching on, right? So when I seen a big picture where everybody had something to say, I said, boom. I didn't agree with everything bruh said 100%, but I could still see some truth in certain things he said, meaning self-accountability. Before I point the finger outward at somebody, I got to point it back at myself, right? If I really want to fix the community, it start within, not without. There's a lot of statements he made that was like, I know for a fact that 99% of y'all ain't never watched the whole debate or even listened to the whole speech. Y'all just watch Facebook clips and shit. So I ask myself, somebody get assassinated. Most of us never heard of this man before. Then all of a sudden the next day, there's millions of posts on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok that's chopping up small pieces of conversation and putting them forward. I'm not saying he the perfect man in the world, but that's called propaganda, right? Do you realize that when they shot him, right, and then they started flooding the timelines with all of this shit, do you realize that, you know, black people in America are the source, or the poor, the minorities are the source? Because I keep saying minority is black people, Hispanics, and women. They even consider white women minorities by law. You know what I'm saying? So we dead fucking wrong, because when I seen the pastor go live and talk about this, ain't nowhere that say I gotta. Yes, it do. When y'all following these sleep ass people, you know what I'm saying? Because when a pastor tell you that, but the Bible do tell you love your enemy, and how do you fight evil with evil? So now we got all this shit. We can follow the pastor, but y'all pastors, and I say fuck all that talking. If anybody that want to debate me, put me on the phone with your pastor and be quiet. Put me on the phone with your E-man and be quiet and let us have a conversation. And I'll show you how righteous these niggas and these females really are. Because it's very clear in the Bible and all these books, all these fake ass religious people. It's very clear. When niggas be like, yo, when the pastor said on live, I ain't gotta have no sympathy for it. Yes, you do, nigga. Who the fuck told y'all? Let's be clear. In the Bible, this pastor, that Bible very particular. And it do say love your enemy, but it's 1,000 more quotes in there that say shit about you can't fight evil with evil, right? So you ain't got to agree with this nigga, but if you didn't watch the whole debate, the whole conversation, and do your research, then you fell for the propaganda machine, because after he got shot in the neck, they flooded social media with all this shit. Most of it ain't even know who the fuck he is. Most of us don't even know anything about politics. I sat down in a room with thousands of niggas in this city, and when we start talking politics, niggas ain't even qualified like that. Not everybody, but a lot of people, especially the common person. So it ain't about me taking up for what he said or this and that. It's about what happened to our human decency, right? King wasn't, like when we look at what King was talking about and Malcolm was talking about, we felt that because that was our struggle. That's how we see the world from our lens and what we've been through. right? But damn, King paid in blood, Malcolm paid in blood, and you don't think the same thing they saying about the same thing they said about Malcolm and them, but just from other races. You know what I'm saying? Other races go and look at us crazy when we praise hip hop and R&B. I mean, this hip hop shit where niggas is drilling and killing. We got an opinion about this man saying something, but clean up your own fucking house. You feel me? We can have an opinion of that nigga. I don't agree with everything he said, but at the end of the day, do y'all really understand what he was talking about? I went live yesterday. I was dumb like, niggas is babies. Niggas emotional. But at the end of the day, when I seen the pastor, when pastors go live, I'm like, there ain't nowhere where I got it. Yes, it is. Because if you leading these people and they say that you're going to be judged by your heart, and clearly the pastor was so full of rage and anger that that's what he led with that morning. So I tell anybody, I challenge anybody, don't check me. Call me on the phone with your pastor, your E-man, and I bet you I'll break him the fuck down or her down in front of you. Because it ain't but so much of that shit you can take when you dealing with a real woke mind. Remember, Malcolm, yeah, he was a Muslim, but he was studying with all religions, and he was learning all knowledge. That's what the problem was, right? I'm not saying, and so what I'm saying, the people come on my page, and I seen a lot of, and I don't agree, and I want to say this clear. I'm not saying we don't have an opinion. It's not our fucking war. I'm saying that if it was about what he said about us, then this would have been on the news and shit, or would have been on the feed. He gets shot. They flood the feed with all this shit about African Americans, propaganda, because they need us to justify, they killed this man. And now Black America saying like, oh, that's what the fuck he deserves. So we gonna justify it? That's what King and Malcolm deserve? Respectfully, whether we agree with the ideology or not, any man that's willing to sit down and have conversation and debate is not it's just not, you feel me? Let me tell you something, a narcissist, a fascist, they don't debate shit. They don't give a fuck about what nobody say. You feel me? So I'm saying that we dead fucking wrong. I ain't gotta agree with no KKK nigga, but to see him get murdered in front of his kids, what type of civilization we living in? You know what I'm saying? Like, he paid in blood. Like, I even showed a video yesterday where he talking to the black kid. He was supposed to be leaving. Don't miss me with that racist shit. Dickhead, yes. Asshole, yes. Arrogant, yes. But completely racist? We need to be careful how we use that word, because niggas, we racist too in our own right. But we feel justified because we was enslaved. But I got a message for every black person. We want the first or the last people enslaved. Everybody on earth been enslaved before. So I just asked my people this morning, are you a victim or a survivor? Because he made a point that some of that shit, I'm gonna say, like, he said a lot of harsh shit. He said a lot of harsh shit, but not everything was completely wrong. He said, I'm just saying, he was attacking hip hop. He was saying like, yo, he's attacking the aspect that black men, 40, 50, 60, we ride into the same music the youth is. We can't even get our sons out the fucking street, but we gonna judge another person for making judgment on our community that we not even fucking judging. I was nice yesterday. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to check it. And I say this about, when we talk about him, let's talk about our pastors and our imams. Let's talk about these people who got C3 agreements with the government to keep us docile. Collecting tithes and offerings from niggas for what reason? To build a temple. Nigga, the temple, the body, miss me. I will go against, look, publicly on a forum against any religious leader, especially a pastor, because if you are supposed to be the representation of God for your church, how the fuck you gonna get up there and say what you said, bruh? That's when I knew. So, and then another thing, I kept talking about it, not in an insult. We don't know our history. Culture is not rap music. Culture is the language that connects back. That language goes back thousands of years. The food has something to do with the culture. The clothing got something to do with the culture. The true indigenous religion got something to do with the culture. That's culture. You know what I'm saying? Black folks, black means not real. I tell you, I study law. When they say colored, we colored people, right? Black folks. Black means Christian property. So when we talk about Uncle Toms, don't tell me about no more Uncle Toms than the niggas that's walking around here talking about the religions they believe in and not even realize the legal ramifications. Niggas, the Christians put the earth on their fucking knees. Argue with me. Show me some scholars. Sit me down in a room and prove me wrong. Dead ass. Because let's do a little historical reference. I said it yesterday. The Christians, Queen Isabella and Fernandez, used the Christian movement to enslave all of the Africans on the planet. It's called the Spanish Inquisition. Look it up when y'all today. Anybody that want to argue with me, the Spanish Inquisition, they'll lay this shit out for you. And even when they conquered America, she said, we're going to use the pastors. Right? That's why when they shoot us in the street and shit. But let me go back a little bit. And what I mean by that, don't think religion, think politics. See, if you think religion is going to get y'all in your emotion, y'all going to stop listening to me. But that's the problem with our people. All you got to do is say a couple words. The reality was, in all those videos, none of those children, none of those teenagers, none of those college kids, very few of the videos I seen were even competent enough to be in that same room with that man and have that conversation. So don't get mad that that man was outsmarting them, because we all seen the movie Great Debaters. That was my intro on a convo, right? That's our job. There's many ways to fight, mentally, spiritually. There's many types of war. But niggas don't, it's financial war, spiritual war. It's physical war. You know what I'm saying? It's so many forms of war today. So I want to be clear. You got this man who grew up in the middle of wealthy America. He don't live in our community, so he don't know. So when the rest of our communities, when anybody else watch us from afar, we look like an ignorant people, and we can't see that, right? We are not ignorant, but they look at us as a whole. Just like how when Malcolm and Martin was talking about white people, right? They talked about them as a whole. So that's why I say, what about the white people that what about the white people that's the descendants of the family members who died fighting with slaves in the Underground Railroad? How the fuck you think you feel when Malcolm and everybody just called them all white devils? I'm saying, before we get mad and call somebody racist, clean up your own fucking backyard. All these so-called gangster grown-ass men up here, I don't see nobody stepping the fuck up. What you make out your pocket businesses, that's one thing, but what you doing for the community, another. So miss me, I'm talking about America, not North Carolina. America, nigga, show me. Show me we're the brightest. Because I'm going to say some shit that's going to have niggas in their feelings this morning. I'm going to keep it funky. One, I don't agree with the George Floyd calling him a scumbag. But was George Floyd the brightest of our men? Was Trayvon Martin the brightest of our men? Because there's more to that story. Y'all seen the documentaries? Now, Trayvon, they used to always say Trayvon was the closest, right? But Trayvon wasn't completely innocent. They didn't tell us the whole story. I don't know if y'all seen the documentaries that came out. Not knocking it. Were these people the top of our class, the leaders of society? No, nobody deserves to die. So if Trayvon don't deserve to die, then neither does bruh. Just because he has an opinion and a view, it's a difference between somebody outside marching and getting the white boys together trying to get them to kill us and somebody having a debate with us. But I'm sleep though, right? When a man is willing to debate, it's an opportunity to re-educate him at some point. Let him go against somebody like me, because even if he wins or loses the debate, when he finally goes home that night, I'm going to throw some shit at him that he probably ain't been told by his leaders. Because remember, we all controlled by who we around, right? Don't tell me about black power, right? That shit wasn't all the way true. Don't tell me about motherfucking black nationalism, because that shit ain't all the way true. Don't tell me about, you know what I'm saying, the movement with, what's brother name? With Umar and them, the Pan-African. Don't tell me about them fucking movements, because I call all of them in lies. Everybody. How well researched are you? Right? So we got a problem with white power, but we can't see it as a people that black power just is deadly. Right? It really is. Right? At the end of the day, how many of us really educated ourselves, or how many of us and our ancestors joined movements off the emotional pool? Right? Because as soon as they killed Malcolm and King, what you niggas do? Right? He said it's been 150 years what they did, and we get in our feelings about it. No, we supposed to answer back intellectually. Well, we did Black Wall Street and da-da-da-da, and then we supposed to let him answer. And then we do got to be accountable that since the 60s and 70s, what you niggas accomplished? Oh, y'all went downtown and marched and shit. Oh. Last time I checked, in the 40s and 50s and 60s, we already had the millionaires and the money and the sexes in the stores before we did the marching. Oh. But what, we over here, like, is he wrong? So answer this question. Why every black person ain't put $5 together? Every black person in America can't send $5 somewhere? I'm talking about to one place. But we gonna have this conversation knowing niggas ain't nobody about to send $5 because we too selfish. Where the money going? Who got the debit cards? Where we spending it? Who control? Who make the choices? This is why they said they got a 12-hour plan to exterminate all of us, because our lack of ability to work together, our lack of ability of military science is called the King Alfred plan. And I want y'all to pay attention. For what reason, and all I'm saying is that, for what reason did they flood the feeds with all of his racial statements, as people want to call it? I explained it to y'all yesterday. If they told, now you can't argue with this. If he said, let's just say the NBA, and I'm gonna use this again. If they said the NBA had to draft 50% all white players, he said, are you telling me that the NBA ain't gotta lower their standards in order to draft 50% more white players in the league? The answer is yes. So I'm just saying, as somebody that care about perfection and somebody that's going to be real with each other, we don't look at the right questions. We looking at it as victims. Oh man, what's the problem with blacks getting jobs? It's not a problem. But if minorities going to get jobs and the skill set is being decreased, or anybody, not just blacks, that's why I like that he use the NBA. The NBA is predominantly black. If you want to keep the NBA exciting and all of this stuff, you cannot draft all white boys. You can't, out of 80 picks, you can't draft 40 white boys for the next 10 years. The league gonna change. The athleticism, how it's played, a lot of things gonna change because now, in order to draft, the point was, in order to go from 8% to 50%, you have to force people in, right? But we couldn't see the bigger point. We were too busy emotionally caught up because we emotionally stupid. They've been playing on our emotions for years. You know what I'm saying? I done seen more niggas call woke motherfuckers sleep, but I watch y'all go to motherfucking church and do this shit every week. And I know for a fact y'all ain't questioning y'all pastor. Stop playing. Y'all don't question nothing. Y'all know y'all been to church your whole life and he ain't read the Bible from front to back, or heard they ain't read the Bible from front to back to y'all every day. Starting from the first day, tell them to start from today and go through every chapter. Don't skip nothing. Don't jump around. Don't go from Exodus to Jake, you know what I'm saying, to other parts of the books to, you know what I'm saying? Don't jump around, because a lot of times you'll get a sermon and they'll give you a sermon and everybody who's a scholar know that you're not supposed to go to your congregation a certain way. You're not supposed to infer on them. I could point out stories in the Bible to you that your pastor ain't never even talked about in church. Because you know why? Because they told not to talk about it because they can't explain it. So all I'm saying is that when I see a Christian pastor on the pulpit saying that I ain't gotta, last time I checked, you can't get into heaven with hatred in your heart. Last time I checked, you judge by who you are. Bruh said, do you believe that you should be judged by the content of your character and not the color of your skin? If we agree yes, then what's the issue? That's step one. Now let's go a little bit deeper. He was a Christian too. Right? And I'm not attacking Christians. I mean that I grew up in a Christian household most of my life. So I want to make this clear. My goal isn't to offend any Christians because I respect what you believe, but I ask you to educate yourself on the facts behind it. Right? Because I know, I already get it. Once I offend you, you ain't going to listen to me. But at some point, don't y'all realize that the war has already started? Don't y'all realize we ain't got time? Right? I don't have the time when I get loud to coddle you when at the end of the day, niggas, we at war. Right? So we need to understand a lot of us believe what we believe because our mothers and fathers believe it and they mothers and fathers believe it. How many of us actually went outside of what we were taught and actually did some research? Remember, the Bible says search all corners of the earth for information. It does not say only read the Bible. I don't want to have a conversation with somebody who only want to talk from the Bible text. Give me the Bible text and history and other things so we can have a very good conversation. Because we talk all this woke shit. How come you not demanding your pastor, your imam, your rabbi to sit down, right? We've been having the same ignorant ass conversation for 150 plus years, right? But we're not going to demand our pastors to all sit down with the imams and all the religions on national TV and actually have a conversation about all of the books to find out what's true and what's not. We're going to keep fighting over the same ignorant ass shit. That's why they call us sheep. You know what I'm saying? The truth is, not when I say don't think the religion, you got to think about politics, because the Christian movement wasn't about Jesus or Yeshua. Remember, he was dead for about 350 to 375 years before they came up with the name Christian. Right? That's why I told you. I gave a story yesterday. I'm gonna reiterate it. It was one guy that became Pope in Rome. But he was a college professor, so he had all the young minds. That's why Kirk went to the college campuses, knowing he used a tactic that was used in Roman history. If you go remember, the college kids are our future. So this guy, he was so influential that the papacy eventually gave him power. But then by the next time he ended up winning, he basically ended up overthrowing the Pope in some sense and becoming more powerful. And that's how the Christians came into the papacy. Study your popes. Right? So this same tactic is what Kirk is using by going to a college campus and having a conversation. But I'm going to tell you this. People say, I got messages of people was telling me like, you know, I'm Uncle Tom ass nigga because I'm defending I'm defending integrity of God and nature. At the end of the day, I don't give a fuck what you say. Just because a motherfucker says something you don't like, that to me he deserve a bullet in his throat. I get up here every morning, so I deserve that shit. I'm very opinionated, right? I'm very well researched. So what you saying is that, so now what y'all did on TV, what we just did as a people was, so now he gets killed and black people online, da-da-da, yo, that ain't godly. So now when they start clipping off all of our black revolutionaries and the niggas who can help us, now what can you say when white folks get online and start talking like, niggas, you gonna like it? So why you doing it? Doing to others as you want done itself. But niggas we ain't on that type of time. So anybody can argue with me about it at the end of the day. But I want to remember why people over here talking about they Christians, that man Kirk was a Christian too. So if you could be in a Christian church under the same God as him and still feel some way, because Kirk represent, regardless if you like him or not, he represents freedom of speech. Right? That's what he represents, freedom of speech. To anybody that really knows that his death was a representation to let everybody who speak for themselves know that if you say too much or do whatever, your ass could get clipped too. You know what I'm saying? And that's facts. We were told, when we looking at this shit from a perspective, the Christians conquered America. Obama told you that America was founded off Muslim law. This was a Muslim country. Obama said it in office when he read them papers. But we gonna sit here and we're gonna not do our research to realize in the Spanish Inquisition, the Christians decided to put out an edict that you can take any dark-skinned African person's land if you say that they were cannibals. Not proof, but if you say it. The Christians conquered the planet and put the planet on their knees and put all the blacks into slavery. Let's be clear. Before slavery, there were none, as historically, or they would say very few, black Christians. Because the Christianity we know today, Dr. Bennett tell you Christianity, the form of it started in Africa with Paintius and Boetius, right? But those are the early remnants of what we know of Christianity, but not exactly what the church carried out. Now I need y'all to pay attention. This same church and the Roman Catholic Church makes all the decisions for the Christian church, and they killed Jesus. So make this make sense. When Yeshua walked around, it was them that stuck him on that cross and killed him, the church. And Jesus wasn't a part of the church. And I try to educate my people every day. Jesus and Mary spoke Aramaic. That's a form of Arabic. When Jesus prayed to God, he prayed to Allah. Mary prayed to Allah. Because their language, the word for God was Allah. And we keep trying to say, oh, all gods are the same. No, they not. Because we don't know our descriptions, that we don't pay attention. The God of the Muslims ain't got the same ramifications as the God of the Christians. If we really gonna pay attention, but really they do. And let me explain. Christians don't know the only reason why one of the few reasons why Jesus was considered the holy child was because he was born 7,000 years after Buddha. Just like Buddha was holy because he followed the birth chart and he was born 7,000 years after Krishna. What they're not teaching you is that this spirit resurrects over and over again. You know what I'm saying? Some of these ancient spirits, they constantly come back. That's what they mean. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's crazy when I see people and I watch us. Ain't nobody we ain't saying nothing to the rappers, and we ain't holding no rappers, no actors, no ball players, no scholars. Who we holding accountable? What we asking them for? Huh? Because we ain't holding nobody the fuck accountable. Right? While this shit going on, let me ask you a question. If I'm so sleep, how come Cat Williams put out a post yesterday? Cat is embarrassed about the way black people happen. This is not it, nigga. He ain't did enough to get that much hate. Respectfully, I'm gonna say it this way. It's so many more people on the planet that's worse than that man. And that's what we gonna spend our fucking energy on it. Call me an Uncle Tom, whatever. And then I know, niggas know what I am, and I'm woke and I'll be speaking, but I'm gonna speak facts. Miss me. Anytime I see Christian pastors on TV saying that shit, y'all better be careful who y'all follow. You know what I'm saying? The world's sleeping. It's a fucked up place. Regardless, he got an opinion. I got an opinion. I got views. He got views. But we are accountable. He said, do you not agree that the real problem in the black community is that there's no fathers in the household, but we just gonna act like that's not an issue? No, it's an issue. But we've been so monetized. They done pushed us out. A lot of black women done pushed us out. You know what I'm saying? They watching us looking stupid. Our women and men fighting each other every day. We such at war, we can't raise these fucking kids. Don't tell me about, I don't want to hear shit from none of y'all talking about I'm this and that, nigga. What if y'all kids out here killing each other? So all the black women that want to call me Uncle Toms, go raise y'all fucking kids and go get them the fuck out the streets instead of over here trying to dominate these men. And for all my niggas out here that's doing all this shit, raise your kids. You know what I'm saying? Because one thing we can't say about the niggas in the 60s and 70s, it was killing, but they won't doing this. How we gonna talk about we want all of this, but we can't stop the kids from drilling and killing because we ain't got no fucking leaders? The youth running around this bitch thinking that they big homies and OGs. Why? Because they more adults than they mamas and daddies out this bitch. These young niggas growing up thinking they grown because mama ain't letting daddy put them in a motherfucking place and clap them motherfuckers up. Like not shooting them, but beating them the fuck up. Sometimes in nature, see, we the humans, especially black folks, we the only people that's out of order in the manner that we are because we supposed to be the truly connected. When a male, mammal, dog, lion, gorilla get into it with their son, the females stay the fuck out of it. Not our women, most of them. They get involved. Right? There's rules and structures that we choose not to follow. So before we point the finger and get mad at somebody else for having an opinion of our community, we need to clean our shit up. You know what I'm saying? We can't get mad at other people from outside in, looking in with a microscope at our ass and judging us. But at the same time, nigga, I'm a black man. And some of that shit he said, I couldn't even deny it. The way black women carry themselves. The way the black man is focused on everything but raising his kids and holding niggas accountable. You know what I'm saying? It ain't about if a nigga, a street nigga, sell drugs or whatever. A monster, these niggas still had moral and principle. The Italians was doing dirt, but they had respect for the Italians. But we gonna sit here and get mad. We need to point the finger at us. It says judge not to be judged first, my niggas. And last time I checked, our shit ain't together. And that was my biggest point this morning, regardless of what anybody can say to me. You can come on my inbox, you can come on my joints, and you can tell me, but half the people that be talking, I say, clearly you won't pay attention, and you ain't watch my lives, and you want a part of the ride. Because I won't just talk, and I show evidence, proof, documents through the years. I want a part of this fake-ass woke movement right now with everybody on Instagram and TikTok. That shit didn't exist when I was on live doing that shit, showing you proof. I ain't never been much of a liar. So that's my thing. And that's why I say, let me see what people, what do y'all feel in the comments? Because I want to know, everybody that's watching this or people that tap in, do y'all get my point? I ain't got to agree with this man. But remember, even in the movie Great Debaters, we got to be able to sit down and have a debate, whether if it's white versus black, whether if it's America versus Russia. If we can't even sit down and have a fucking conversation without getting in our feelings, what the fuck is that about? We supposed to fight back intellectually, not just be mad at this man for what he say and his views and shit. A lot of the shit I watched, I didn't get a lot of racist feels from it. I just got a lot of I just know that he grew up on the side of America and probably misguided in some of his logic. You know what I'm saying? But it ain't no difference then when we go to the Black Panther and the Black Power movements and shit and we listening to them and they dead fucking wrong because you know they sleep because they still using black. Black means Christian property. And I want y'all to check me. The word black means Christian property. If you identify yourself as a black man or a black woman, the Christians own you in America. And that's why you getting abused. That's why you go to jail. That's why they prey on you, because they have the right legally to assume that you Negro, black, or colored. Those are the signs of slaves. But we not, and that's all I'm saying. Hold ourselves accountable on this shit, right? So one of my biggest things too this morning is saying, I read a lot of people comments. So for the people that get up there and that think that I'm just defending a white man and I'm a white man lover, say what you please. But at the end of the day, you can't fight evil with evil. So any religious man who's a leader that gets up here and says, well, I ain't gotta show respect. Yes, you do. Because if love is the thing that outweighs evil, how does that pastor's emotional ass speech? Matter of fact, I'm gonna show y'all this shit. Hold on. I'm gonna show y'all this shit. I'm gonna give y'all the videos of this shit, just so y'all can see this shit. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. I'm gonna show y'all this video. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. Let me cut my computer on. Because I want to show y'all this shit. This shit dead wrong. We can't... If you're a religious leader, this is very irresponsible. Because you're supposed to be the representation of God and leading people. So when you get up there and you start justifying hatred, make it make sense. All right, hold on, y'all. Because I want to show y'all this shit. I know I shared it. Boom. And I got another Charlie Kirk joint. So, I want to explain it to y'all. Let me cut my damn lighter. All right.
I have with some of the so-called civil rights leaders.
Oh, no, this is the wrong one.
You
No,
guys.
No, bro, right here, he 100% right. Hold on, y'all. I know I shared that joint. I might not have, because it was so ignorant. Hold on. Did I share it yesterday? I probably didn't. That shit was so ignorant. Did I comment on it? Damn. Usually I share it because I know, but I wasn't going to share it. I realized I didn't share it because I wasn't going to share that fucking hate. But look, let's look at this.
Why would you just walk up to someone and talk and attack their culture from the outside?
Well, hold on. Because hold on. Let's look at the evidence. You said to myself, you said there's all these people suffering in Chicago. There's all these people that are terrible. I'm telling you why. It's because there's been bad decisions that have been institutionalized. Let me finish. And rap artists and athletes and people at the top level of black society that refuse to ever challenge the core rot in black America, which is that they are allowing degeneracy and hedonism to eat the soul of what once was a beautiful black culture, and instead they go around saying it's the boogeyman of racism, the white man is out to get you, and the result is black America is doing worse than it was in the 1960s. That is the contention, period. Because
why would you
true.
Just walk up to someone and...
So somebody tell me how that was racist. I want somebody who's up here right now. Can anybody tell me how that was racist? Or are we so emotionally biased when anybody has anything to say about us as a people, right? And I'm really asking, can somebody please show me how that was a racist statement? I'm gonna play it one more time.
Talk and attack their culture from the outside.
Well, hold on, because hold on. Let's look at the evidence. You said to myself, you said there's all these people suffering in Chicago. There's all these people that are terrible. I'm telling you why. It's because there's been bad decisions that have been institutional.
What he means is there's been bad decisions. One, Chicago, all of the politics of Chicago is crooked. They've all been bought out. The Oregon shit that they got going on in Chicago, harvesting, all of the politicians in Chicago's are crooked. That's the only reason why a bunch of black kids walk around with 17, 18 murders, right? Because nobody gives a fuck. Chicago is corrupted. That's facts.
Let me finish. And rap artists and athletes and people at the top level of black society that refuse to ever challenge the core.
And all of our leaders, the Jays, the Beyoncés, the LeBrons and all of them, these sucker ass niggas, they ain't speaking about nothing. We seen what Jay-Z did. Right? We seen LeBron keep his mouth closed in a Kyrie situation. So what he's saying is that the black leaders and the same people that we praising, they ain't holding nobody fucking accountable. Right? And I don't know too many races that's going to call black culture beautiful. But niggas ain't paying attention. The black culture he talking about was beautiful was when we was talking about the era when we was thriving, building. Right? He even admitted that black culture before Black Wall Street was on a higher trajectory to be richer than white America today. Right? But that's what I said earlier. Who are we holding accountable? Because I don't see any black leaders right now that we holding accountable on that level.
Rot in black America, which is that they are allowing degeneracy and hedonism to eat the soul of what once was a beautiful black culture, and instead they go around saying it's the boogeyman of racism.
And I would say, I'm not saying that, oh, the white man didn't do nothing to it, but how long are we going to use that shit as a motherfucking excuse? They still exist. It's still a problem. They still playing goalie. But ever since when can they stop us from scoring? That's true. You know what I'm saying? It's super true. So let me drop my joint back down for a second, y'all. So let me say this, and I wanna see if I can find. I'm mad that I didn't share it, but it was so ignorant by the pastor. If anybody got that video where that pastor was saying it, send it to my inbox. Because I know people do have it. I'm looking down to see if that shit is on my feed. Nah. But let me look on Facebook. My main point of saying all of this is, what makes it right that we mimic and mock somebody's death? You know what I'm saying? When he called George Floyd a bum, my only question is saying, like, that's dead wrong. But we gonna make it seem like it doesn't matter the type of character of these people either. Nobody, if George Floyd didn't deserve to die and Trayvon, neither did he. Opinion, how does that make you Can somebody answer that for me? How does an opinion, everybody has the freedom of speech, right? But like I learned in politics, you can say what you want, but it don't mean there's no consequences for this shit. That's what freedom of speech really is at its core. You feel me? Don't sit here. You can't sit here and make it seem like, you know what I'm saying? Like this shit is just regular degular and ain't nothing gonna happen with it. I think that that's very childish. I constantly watch us always make it. We learn, hip hop taught us to make more excuses than to solve problems. But can somebody please tell me where he wrong? Which one of our wealthy blacks is actually holding us accountable? See, it was a time when we listened to our religious leaders like the Malcolm X's, the Elijahs, because Elijah and them, even right now, I'm surprised I haven't heard them say anything. Usually, if this was I just don't understand. And then when you got an opinion about it, they want to say, but don't y'all get the bigger picture of what's all going on? I'm going to play some more of these shits because I want y'all to see this. That's why I say I challenge. How many of y'all have actually watched the whole debate? Or did y'all just get the little video? That's called propaganda. So let's find some more. Hold on, y'all. Because I'm going to break this down. I don't want to see the shooting. Because you know they always got the damn shooting. And then when he was talking about the black dude, like he had a conversation when he was talking about the black dude that stabbed that Israel girl, that shit really doesn't make any sense. He on a video like, y'all got that white girl, I got that white girl. And then all of a sudden he stabbed her. Like, we can't get mad about people having opinions and call people racist and defend the worst in our society. You know what I'm saying? Let's see, let's try this one. I don't even know, but we're going to see, we're going to break them down. Hold on.
Action. Yeah, we know you do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Play cut 52.
But I rise today as a clear recipient of affirmative action, and particularly in higher education. I may have been admitted on affirmative action, both in terms of being a woman and a woman of color. But I can declare that I did not graduate on affirmative action. This is my personal story.
Right.
I hear it because of action affirmative. She can't even say that. We know.
I want to say something. If he's a debater, like he's very good at debating. If y'all know anything about debating on a college level, collegiate level, or like high levels, he's a great debater. So your job in debates is to discredit the person you're debating to your audience. Right? There's a difference between being a dickhead, an asshole, or just being one vision than just being completely, you know what I'm saying, wrong. His argument on affirmative action and all of these things has always been the same, which is it's got some truth and it's some of his, what I call the belief system, right? The politics in true Christianity has a lot to do with how Charlie Kirk thinks. Right? True Christianity, right, that came to America through the Pilgrims, they think more like Charlie Kirk. Right? Remember, it was Christian men that was hanging us from trees. It was Christian men that brought us over on the so-called boats, right? We just use that story, even though I don't go by it completely. This is what this was. So I look at it very wildly. Is some of his views fucked up? Yeah. But who is his teachers? Who is he around? Right?
Oh, it's very obvious to us that you were not smart enough to be able to get in on your own. I couldn't make it on my own, so I needed to take opportunities from someone more deserving. You know, this is how arrogant Joy Reid and Ketanji Brown Jackson and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee are. They're so narcissistic, they think this is persuasive. They think we're like, oh, of course, that's why we need affirmative action, because you have impressed us with your brilliance.
I want everybody who watch me, who really got a mind, what I want y'all to do, I want y'all to take the time out to really study affirmative action. Right? A lot of these bills that was given for black folks, it's a double-edged sword. On one way, it helped us, and in another way, it killed us. Right? So I want y'all to really do your research on affirmative action, even in Africa. when affirmative action hit Africa and see how affirmative action tore Africa to pieces, right? See, we know about these black dockets according to what they told us in school, but even what they told us in school was rooted in lies and deception. So I challenge everybody to actually learn what affirmative action is, how it affected the economies in the black communities, and did it really help or did it actually draw a further wedge? I challenge you.
Of course. Oh no, imagine the world without Joy Reid.
And I don't agree with everything he said, but we're going to be real and look at it for what it is.
Imagine the world without Sheila Jackson Lee or Michelle Obama or Ketanji Brown Jackson. They think this is persuasive. They think as they kind of now reveal that I'm only here because of anti-white, anti-Asian.
And then another thing, we got to know, I notice people get mad because I don't agree with everything he's saying, but I know people get mad when you start saying Michelle Obama, they get mad, but how come ain't nobody holding Obama accountable for passing all them gay bills? And cool, you passed them, but what bills what did you really do on a deeper level that really helped the so-called black people? We praise President Obama for being the president that gave them benefits and more rights than they gave us as a people. The gay community has more rights than the black community. You can't even speak on it. It becomes demonized or you'll get in trouble. But you can speak on us. But you can't speak on the Jews.
Forced discrimination policies that turned me into a bitter, resentful activist that hates white people. Honestly, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. Because of DEI, it begs the question, when you see a black pilot, you wonder, you say, I hope they are qualified. If I'm dealing...
Now that's why I said it yesterday, but I did a short live. What is the DEI? It's a department that was responsible for taking jobs that was only 5 to 8% black and minority. Because we need to say not black, minority. So that means white women, black people, Hispanics. If we're going to be clear. Right? So when he was talking about the pilots, I said it yesterday. If you look at the research and get out your feelings, if there's 100 jobs for the best pilots in America, and then they implement a bill that say you have to hire 50 minority pilots. Now, I'm all for it. If these minorities, whether black, whatever, women, white women, if these pilots are better than the pilots that's before them, for sure. So I'm saying that the system shouldn't just say, okay, after we get a certain amount of pilots, okay, we can't hire no more people other than blacks, Hispanics, right? Because when you got to do that, he's saying that you got to lower the standard to some extent. Meaning that there's people, there'll be white men or other nationalities of men who actually are more qualified, just like if it's vice versa in the NBA. Or if you take race out the subject, and only when he says black and he says these words, it's harsh, but when we think of minority, that's what minority is looked upon, even though we know they changed it today. But is it fair is the question. Is it about who's the best pilots is the argument, or is it about filling jobs with minorities so that America could be fair? That's the true argument. But we hear him say, when I see a black pilot, I hope he's qualified, because what he's asking him if he's qualified, did the minority get the job because they actually was excellent and outstanding? Or did they get the job so that they met the number of 50? Because once they got the 50 pilots, the government gave them money. So what about if this is a Hispanic pilot, and this Hispanic pilot is a good pilot, but there was 20 other candidates that was Chinese men or somebody else who were better, but they couldn't hire those people because of that? I'm just saying, if you look at it, forget that this is a white man talking in America and look at the conversation. That's all that meant. That's what he's really talking about. But when he said, when I see a black man, we got emotionally attached and got in our feelings. But we should be asking ourselves the same question when we see anybody, right? We should be able to look at a white man and say, man, I hope he's qualified. But the example he's using is harsh. That's the issue.
With somebody in customer service who's a moronic black woman, I wonder, is she there because of her excellence, or is she there because of affirmative action? It almost creates thought patterns that are not necessarily, no one really cares when it's HR managers. No one cared when it was, just kind of paper shufflers or even engineers. But now when it's like, wait, hold on a second. You're going to remove my appendix and you're a black...
Is he wrong? Could he articulate this shit better? 100%. Is there some animosity? But I'm just saying, but we can't sit here as black people and make it seem like that we don't have conversations or we don't say stuff publicly that might not fit the norm of them either. My only argument is at the end of the day, why are we going live and on TV, and why are we all over social media bragging about this man being killed in front of his children? Okay, it happened to us. I seen ain't nobody care with George Floyd, this and that, da-da-da-da-da-da. So that mean that we supposed to enjoy it when we see it on the other side? So as they start killing black men and black women, and when this happens, and let's say in the next year, a bunch of black kids get hung or this and that, or black men or black women get mistreated, would you like it if a bunch of white people went on live and they phones as a whole and just started saying good, that's what they deserve, the fucking slaves? Because we opening that door. He wrong, but you can't fight wrong with wrong. But not my argument. I said not everything he says is wrong. That was my argument. You feel me? Let me see if I can manually find this pastor before I get off here. Hold on. I should be able to find it.
Charlie Kirk did not deserve to be assassinated.
I want y'all to watch this because this is some of the most ignorant shit I can see a religious leader do.
But I'm overwhelmed seeing the flags of the United States of America at half-staff calling this nation to honor and venerate a man who was an unapologetic racist and spent all of his life sowing seeds of division and hate into this land.
Was Malcolm X not unapologetically black? So if we can have, if it's okay for us to be unapologetically black men and women when we got our knowledge and information, but it's not okay for them to have somebody who unapologetically stand on their stance. How selfish is this?
And hearing people with selective rage who are mad about Charlie Kirk but didn't give a damn about Melissa Hortman and her husband when they were shot down in their home tell me I ought to have compassion for the death of a man who had no respect for my own life. I am sorry, but there's nowhere in Bible where we are taught to honor evil.
There's also nowhere in the Bible that teaches you to match evil with evil. Right? When he even justified it. It's nowhere in the Bible. He don't know his Bible. And it's a lot of people that go to church every day that understand what I'm saying. It don't say honor evil, but it also don't say to rile up your congregation in the spirit of resentment and frustration. What happened to the statement God got us? Make it make sense.
And how you die does not redeem how you lived. You do not become a hero in your death when you are a weapon of the enemy in your life.
I just want y'all to really think about it. Do you think white America looked at Malcolm X or these people like they were heroes before? Or did you think that they were the weapon against the American government? Like, we just got to be fair about this shit. I paid attention to gestures. I paid attention to when he dealt with black people, when he had conversations and arguments and debates. Was he rude? Was he disrespectful? Did he cut them off? Did he not allow them talk? Did he turn his back on them? All of this shit, I didn't see that. But I seen somebody that stood firm on what he chose to believe. Right? That's politics. If everybody had to think and believe the same thing in the world, we'll be a better people around the world. But at the end of the day, that's just not reality. But we do not have the right to just have a complete resentment and hatred for somebody just from their words. Just regular words. When we got people out here really killing and hanging and doing this shit to us. But tell me, everybody who go, this shit ain't dangerous. This is the headline you want. Cause this ain't the message that Jesus was pushing.
I can abhor the violence that took your life, but I don't have to celebrate how you chose to live. I am overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed with what though? Hatred? Emotions? That's why. I'm gonna play it one more time because it's wrong as hell. Why would you tell your congregation this shit? You supposed to be a representation of love and peace.
Do not deserve to be assassinated. But I'm overwhelmed seeing the flags of the United States.
Let me tell you, to me, when I see a pastor do this and then they record it and then they chop it up and they put it on Instagram and TikTok, I'm very weary about a pastor like that. Because if you had this congregation with your church, y'all didn't need to put this out. But right now, understanding the political environment, the atmosphere, what's going to go viral, this was a great conversation to have to make yourself a topic for get people to come and listen to your message. Right? I would challenge anybody, if anybody know this pastor, put me on a live with this man. Because I question him if he know his Bible.
States of America at half staff, calling this nation to honor and venerate a man who was an unapologetic racist and spent all of his life sowing seeds of division and hate into this land. And hearing people with selective rage who are mad about Charlie Kirk but didn't give a damn about Melissa Hortman and her husband when they were shot down in their home, tell me I ought to have compassion for the death of a man who had no respect for my own life. I am sorry, but there's nowhere in Bible where we are taught to honor evil. And how you die does not redeem how you lived. You do not become a hero in your death when you are a weapon of the enemy in your life.
Let me say this. If that's true, then what's the point of the whole point of Christianity? Right? Christianity is one of the only religions. I'm about to check this. Christianity is one of the only religions on earth where you could be a sinner most of your life, and then you could change your life before you die. That's the basis, right? So when he say you can't be a weapon of destruction in your life, right? That's the whole point of Christianity. Is that that's like, so you telling somebody who killed and murdered that they can never go to heaven because, you know what I mean? In some sense, that's the basis of Christianity is that. It's one of the few religions that you can be redeemed. In most religions, you can't be redeemed before there was a Christianity or Islam today. You couldn't be, it didn't work like that. You had to be the best you every day. That's what the teaching said. But that's like King. So y'all saying that King ain't gonna, there was a lot of things King won't doing right. Right? There's books written, Malcolm was a street nigga, a criminal. Sold drugs, did all this shit before. So in his early day, he was a weapon of destruction. But in his later years, right? That's what I mean. We need to remember that Charlie Kirk was what, 32? He was still a kid. right? He was just becoming a real man at this age. When you hit your 30s is when you wake up. Really, is when your mind is at its fullest potential. So we're praising. It ain't like if he was 55 still talking like this, then we knew that that's what it was. But people do change. So he's being judged just like we don't realize when you realize like some our leaders got killed at like 36, 37. But when you realize when they was doing a lot of their crimes, they were 20, 22, 23. They were still kids. It's easier to go after young minds are more impressionable, right? But we can't get mad that let me say it right. We can't get mad that other cultures and other nations gonna go out here and he had somebody invest 80 million into him, go to these campuses, and they built a big following. We ain't putting that money up for ourselves. That's why I said, before we even get mad, why can't, show me a time when we all black people gave up $1 for a collective cause. Because I only know one time, and that was Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey, he got most of the black people in America sent what they could, a quarter, a dime, $1, $5, but everybody sent money. That's how he bought those boats. But today, what's the excuse? Yes, they burned Black Wall Street down. So when he was like, yo, what have we done in 150 years? We've done some things. But even he said, if you watch the whole debate, he said, we can have a conversation about them tearing down Black Wall Street. But what have we done since then? It's a long time. You know what I'm saying? It's been 50, 60 years since then. The same amount of time between the 1900s and the 1960s and 70s exists right now. Because it's 2025 from the 60s. Right? So we already over almost 60 years, if not over 60 years. So what have we done and what have we accomplished since then? What Black Wall Street we had since then? I seen people online arguing that we got black organizations. Miss me. Show me a black organization who funds black people, that gives jobs, that actually make a fucking difference. Don't tell me about the mom and pop stores. Don't tell me about a nigga with a business with one business. Don't tell me about no nigga that employ 20, 30 people. Show me the group of black people who got the power to employ the population or a third of the black community. It doesn't exist. I seen the arguments. People went back and forth with me months ago like, yes, we do, but we got black. No, we don't. Show me. I don't care if you employ 30 people, right? Respectfully. I don't care if you employ 100 people. No, show me white America and they got their jobs and they fixings, right? Or the Jewish community, they are employing millions. So do we not understand business? Right? We talk about black power, black pride, we are people. So if the Jewish people start a bunch of corporations and it's a million jobs and they only hire 1 million people, we gonna get mad and say, man, that's racist. That's what that DIE shit is, or the DEI is. Right? The DEI is the people that's gonna say, okay, you gotta hire a certain amount of black people. And that came from the affirmative action to even it out. But that came after we were asking for equality, right? We had Black Wall Street, right? We had rich black folks. We had our own bag. We had everything. But what was we asking for? To be integrated into their system, into their jobs, into their programs. We already, right? Nobody gonna talk about that? We already had Black Wall Streets all over, wealthy black establishments funding and feeding each other and having our own businesses. And we wanted to be equal in their world. So you telling me, are they really wrong if they want to employ 1 million of their own people? Is the Europeans who got these buildings for as we call white people, if they want to employ their own people? Because what happens when we finally get our shit together and we want to hire only 1 million blacks? We can't, because now the affirmative action going to flip. Now you got to take your buildings from 8% to 50% white folks. And then what we going to get mad? You can't tell us what to do. You've been oppressing us for 2,000, right? You feel me? That's what we going to say. So just put ourselves, look at this fairly intellectually. If a group of black people want to employ, they build a bunch of corporations and jobs, and then they say we want to employ 1 million black people. affirmative action gonna work in the opposite way, because now it's gonna say, well, you're gonna have to hire a certain amount of white people. And it's only right. But what's our argument then? And that's all I'm saying. We had everything we whine about, this and that, we had it. And even when we had it, we was trying to sit at the same lunch table, dinner table, and go to school. We had black schools, black colleges. The black man created the first car. And they were worth more. We had our own clothes designer. We had our own Broadways. We had our own music. We had our own everything. But what were we upset about? Nah, we wanted to sit at their lunch counters and be treated equally in their world. We wasn't comfortable in our world. So all of that arguing that we did and fighting after they killed off the leaders, they said, you know what, let's bring them in our world. Because when we bring them in our world, their whole world crumbles. So we didn't understand the chess move, but we sit here mad. We got manipulated out of our shit because we had the wrong focus. Why? Because the leaders who was leading us back then were misleading us. We had everything, but we followed the same niggas. Like, respectfully, these so-called revolutionary niggas were still pushing to be equal, most of them, when we already had it. We was better off. But nobody see that bigger picture. And that's why I said yesterday, I couldn't help it when I seen that live about the pastor say that. When I see any pastor, any religious leader say that, there's nowhere in the Bible that say I got to have a good heart. Yes, it does. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it said love your brother and love your enemy. Right? You can still show respect. Right? There's a time and place for everything, but we forgot in America. We some fucked up people, white, black, all of us. We couldn't even let his wife and him bury the man before niggas had something to say. And not to mention, I know, don't lie to me, 98% of you niggas never even heard of this man before this. So he dies, and all of this, they chop up the videos and start flooding it in black social media and black Twitter. They fed that to us. They said, you know what, we killed him. Let's give a distraction. Let's show him all the fucked up shit, his points of views to black people. Let's put that out there. But yet, I don't see all the videos when he was challenging the other side of white America, because he was challenging that the same way. I don't see the videos when he was talking about like the Jews and shit in Israel. I don't see those videos like that. So that's what I mean by propaganda. Getting us aroused to be mad, and we say, good, 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 good. Our stupid asses is a part of the propaganda. When the rest of the world's trying to figure out what happened, and then they see all of these black people and all these people saying good, 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 it just make him seem like he deserved to get shot in his throat. So you can't even, what's the point of being in America if you can't even say what if you can't even have your own mind and opinion? That's a part of freedom. So, I don't know, y'all tell me.